Yes, and we are back with another episode of Dance Gems. Today it's a really special episode. I think we are going to talk about behind the glitter, dancing on the screen. And normally, we are equal parties in the discussion, but in this case, I'm going to interview Ton. Because he worked at a lot of television programs in his career, and I'm just very curious what that entails, what that means. It is hence the title Behind the Glitter, Dancing on the Screen, of course, with my good friend Ton Greten. But, we play a little bit me being the interviewer and Ton the interviewee. Behind the Glitter, Dancing on the Screen, Ton, what do you think?
Yeah, fantastic, Sean. I talk always too long, so now I get a real opportunity to talk long then.
Yes, you do. You get an opportunity to talk a lot because we had an interview last week with Gerald van Wint, and he is a creative director and choreographer from the Netherlands, but he works a lot abroad, specifically in Germany, and he's working for programs like the German version of Dancing with the Stars, let's call it that way, and other, he did work for Eurovision Song Festival, all this kind of stuff for the the big Dutch programs. But then I realized, I said, "Hey, Tom, you actually worked also a lot on TV programs, and it's an interesting world, and it's of course only a very few dancers who, get work in that. But nevertheless, programs like Dancing with the Stars in the U.S. is still number one viewed program during prime time." So, Ton, tell me a little bit in bird view, what did you all do in that world?
Uh, a lot, and I didn't know because you asked, Ton, you worked for television. Yes, I work for television. Can you say a few? And I was writing in which country I was. I was in the Netherlands, of course, in Germany, in Denmark, in China, in the Ukraine, in the Philippines, in Russia. So I thought, wow, in all these countries, I work for different productions for in TV, and I didn't know. And not only one program, in some countries, two or three programs. And then I calculated how many dances I have made for these TV productions.
Yeah,
It's more than
worked with.
100.
Yeah, more than
More than
100.
100. I was so confused. How is that possible?
Yeah, well, that's maybe a good thing because that tells me how modest you are. And as the big apotheose of it, Ton has also danced himself in front of the camera. Most of the time, it was work behind the scene as a choreographer, but also he danced in Holland Got Talent. That's the Dutch version of America Got Talent, and actually made with his dancers the finals, and I was very happy
Yes.
actually to see that in the audience. So that's a wide thing. What are the main differences as a choreographer, Tom, to work for a TV program or a television show compared to doing other stage work or competitive dancing or whatever you work for?
Yeah, it's completely different from country to country and from, say, from customer to customer. It sounds a little bit strange, but in the Netherlands, mainly, I worked for my daughter for the TV programs, and I make routines for her, and she danced there. In Denmark, like, and in the Netherlands also, sorry, I dance by myself. But also for Denmark, I made for Marta and Nikolai, a Latin couple. I made the show there for Danish Got Talent. They had a second place there. So I made it not directly for the TV, but indirect for the couple who danced there. And
Yeah,
I make all their routines, three routines I made there. And some of them, millions of people have looked to it, also on my channel. On my channel, it's more than 70 million of people who look to the videos. That's quite a lot, I would say. Then in China, I worked for the Chinese Dance Academy. It's a city of 10,000 dancers there, and the director asked me to make something for TV and for the theater, and they won a prize there, and there was winner, and more than 500 million people looked to it. So I'm shocked that my art is to see to see than more than 500 million people. And when I came to the Philippines, I worked also for my good friend Janice, and I worked with Julius, and he was in a wheelchair, and I made for them for the final and Rea a show there, and they get also second place. So always second. But for Philippines Got Talent, that's fantastic. And for Russia, I worked also for a couple who dance for the TV. They get also to the finals. And in Germany, my group of my dance school danced there. Deutschland sucht den Superstar. What I
Mhm.
said is Germany looks for the superstar. And it's something like Got Talent. And they were also in the final. But the productions, they were completely different from TV to TV. Mm. Oh, and my daughter did also Super Kids in the Netherlands. She won that program, 25,000 euro for her study, and that was a lot of money. I thought for myself, and yes, and it's nice to work because in the Ukraine that was my nicest work uh, at the end. But after 3 years, I was bored, so I worked every year is 6 weeks there, and I made 2 shows in a week for So You Think You Can Dance in the Ukraine. And actually, you don't believe it, Sean. At that time, I was a famous Ukrainian person there. When I go on Krychatek, that's in Kiev, the biggest street there, and I was in McDonald's, I had to go out with 45 people who worked there to get on the picture. And when I was on the border, they wanted to have they want to have that I made an autogram for them. And I thought, huh, what's happening there with customs there? They want the autogram. I thought first, okay, I'm in problem there. No, they wanted the autogram there, the officers there, and I was so uh, yeah confused from that one. But actually also nice. And on the street, people also recognize me in Ukraine. At that time, it's 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. Um, Yes, incredible. So beautiful time. But after 3 years, 3 times 6 weeks, I had enough from it. But the working process, that was a beautiful one. I learned a lot, Sean, from it. A lot. This is why I have now in my gem method book also the procedure how I had to work. So I give an example if I can, or you have another question.
No, no, keep going.
Okay. So at that time, get Sunday. I had to have my concept ready, and in my concept, they wanted to know. Uh, no, that was on Saturday. Sorry, on Saturday, and they wanted to know which music I take, which idea I take, which clothes, which atmosphere, which story I have, how I want to do the hair, if I need props, how I want to do the lightning. And then on the Sunday, we had then a meeting with the team, the lightning team, the the producer was there, the one who do the cutting there of the and the regisseur, how how they record it, and how they cut it then.
Yeah, the editing. Yeah,
Editing was also
director
there.
and the editing. Yeah.
Director was there. It was a very big team, like between 10 and 15 people. The dressmakers were there, makeup artist was there, the for the hairstyling was there, um, the prop who was caring for the props was there, two people for the props, and then I had to explain my concept. And sometimes needed always to have two concepts, because when they said to one concept, sorry, no, this is too much, or this is not okay. I will tell in a minute what concept was not okay, and the other concept was okay. And then you speak which ideas you had, and then the helpers there, like the prop man, they're gonna look for the props. What I need, dressmaker, go for the material and the clothes to make. That was for So You Think You Can Dance, and then at the end of the day, the concept was ready. And then I could start with the choreography on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I had to make two choreographies, and on the Thursday there was general repetition, and then they could tune on the clothing or on the makeup or on the lighting or on the props. And that was a wonderful process. And on Friday was the live broadcast on national TV, on the biggest one. It was CTB or something like that, the biggest channel in the Ukraine. Beautiful program, actually. And also the quality was very, very high. And yes. And several was not accepted. Like, I wanted to make one with a drunken man and drunken people, and they said, no, no, this you cannot do, this concept, because many people in the summer died in the river because they are drunken. Because I didn't know that people in Russia and Ukraine drink so much that many thousands of people dying there from
Wow.
drinking
Wow.
there. I didn't know that. That was a huge problem. The director told me.
Wow.
So I was really in shock. But actually, I thought maybe this is a super
Good thing.
opportunity
Yes.
to do it. Yes, but he
Yeah.
said, no, no, this issue we can absolutely not do. And one other one I did was from Michael Jackson. One one concept, and the concept was about an angel who was already dead, and the boy wanted to dance one times with his child. It was a very famous song from Michael Jackson. He wrote it by himself, the text, so I followed the text. And so in the beginning, the little girl was dead, and then the boy in his dreams want to dance one time again with his little girl. So she came to life in his dream, dance a Vienna Waltz, and in the middle I make some silence, some echo, like not a wind but an echo, and then they started again to dance. So, but actually you couldn't count it, so you had to guess where to start again. That was tricky and challenging. So at the end, she goes as an angel into the sky. She was in wings with her arms and get with a cable then into the sky. That was really, really beautiful. And at the end, that was the nicest thing what I remember from it. The director came to me and he was crying. He was quite huge. I think more than 100 kilos, 140 kilo. He was huge, and I don't want to say fat because this is unpolite, but my English is not enough to say what I want to say. So he was quite heavy, and he take me in the sky and throw me in the sky. He was crying, and he said, "This is the most beautiful what I ever saw. Thank you very much." When I think now about it, I must cry almost from it.
Yeah,
That was
noticed.
really- that was a really nice memory. I will never forget that. And I have a video from it. It's on my YouTube channel, and I'm quite proud also of it. It's timeless, and I made um, yeah, many shows there, and some were really fantastic, and some were okay.
Yeah, but
And
you had, I mean, do you remember when you went for the first time work for a television show? Because, I mean, how does the Ukraine find a guy from the Netherlands in Kerkrade to help them with making the main dances, the general dances in the Dancing with the Stars? Are there no choreographers in the Ukraine who could do that? Or how did they find Ton Greten?
yeah, lucky enough, they saw work for me on my YouTube channel,
Hmm.
and they liked it very, very much. I
Yeah.
wanted to invite me and offered me an say like a small contract, and I was agree. So I get the a month of money for 1 week, and I had a day fee, and so then I go to the Ukraine. First, I had a like a meeting, and after that meeting, they pay me the flight and everything. I go back again, and then I came later. I came again back for to work with them, and also my good friend Jaakko Taivonen from Finland, and
Mm-hmm.
he danced
Toivonen, yeah.
first with Romjana Dahan, um, who we have interviewed with our podcast in the Dutch version, and he was a Finnish dancer at that time who studied in Rotterdam on the dance university or dance academy, and so I helped him also on work there, and he was later also judge of that program and also of the Netherlands version of So You Think You Can Dance and another program, I think the Dance Battle. He was also judge of that one and choreographer. So actually, I had also want to do that work, but they didn't know my work or recognize not my work, so that was a pity. But for a choreographer, these are really nice jobs for TV. Pay very good. TV channels, in my case, pay very good, and yes, that's really really
Yeah, you have
beautiful. So
you
they
have a budget to work with, of course. You typically have. How would you? How would you? I mean, you and I are always a little bit careful to do that. But how would you rank the quality of the dancers that you could work with in the Ukraine?
Ukraine very high, on the same level as America, I would say now, and also on the same level as China. Totally, completely different cultures,
Mm-hmm.
but quality-wise, Ukraine are really, really high, and also
It's
they
predominantly
do a lot for it.
ballroom and Latin dances, yeah,
No,
predominantly.
no. So you think you can dance was ballroom, Latin,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
contemporary, show dance, jazz, ballet, tap dance, all kind of forms of dancing you had
Cool.
there.
Cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a relatively small country, at least from a population point of view. But yeah, we know that there's many talented and quality dancers there. So it must be nice to work professionally with a group of dancers that can bring your ideas to life.
Yes,
Um,
really.
mhm.
Yes.
So how was it to to take an account the timing because there's a lot of time pressure, there is budget
Yes, yes,
pressure, there is restrictions what you can and cannot do. Obviously, there are other people who take the final decisions. How did you deal with that, Tom?
yes. I come back to that one. I remember the question. So the population in Ukraine is 42 million people. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is in America.
Wow,
It
400.
400
10,
million.
10
Wow,
times more. Yeah.
10 times more, yes.
And
And the
China is
Netherlands,
1.6 billion. So it's that's those
oh,
are that's yeah.
and the Netherlands 17 million, almost 80 now.
Yeah.
So the time pressure, yes, was huge, and also for the dancers, and how far you came, like to the because you had 10 rounds, then you go to 9 to 8 to 7 to 6 to
Yeah.
5 to 4 to 3 to the semifinal to the final. And when you reach the final, that was really hard. Not so also hard for the choreographers, but more hard for the dancers because they were
Yeah.
very tired.
Yeah.
Most of the dancers are amateurs, and they are not specialized in when you dance for this program. So you think you can dance, you are specialized in hip hop, and then you have to dance like
Ballroom.
a contemporary
Yeah. Yeah.
or ballroom dancing, say that's or tap dancing. That's really really hard for these dancers. Very very hard, I can tell you. And then when you are in the final, you not dance one time, no, you dance three times at least. You do three shows and or two shows and a solo, or three shows and a solo, four dances. So that's really really hard for these dancers because you learn in 1 week at least three choreographies, three, and from the three different choreographers. That's a huge challenge for the dancers. And I had one dancer in the final. I think it's Maria or Marta, and the girlfriend. I have to look on my YouTube channel. I forgot the names. It's 10 years ago. Sorry about that. I forgot the names, but I had to do. My theme was boxing, and after that, many choreographers imitate that concept. So they were so crying, but I make something really, really, really unique and such strange what I did in the concept. I put cha cha cha, that's a ballroom dance, and put it in the theme of boxing with two girls in the red corner and the blue corner. And at the end, there was also at that moment the inventor of So You Think You Can Dance. He was there as a judge in the program, and the who invented that format, and he judged in that one. And my idea was to knock out not each other as a woman and two girls, but knock out the judge panel. So so the idea was accepted, and at the end, and during we made the choreography, the girls were so crying, they were and tired, and but it was so funny how I brought it, that they liked it so much. So one was contemporary dancer and the other one was a hip hop dancer, and I can also put it later in the footnotes. It was so incredible. They were laughing they were so tired and was laughing. And at the end, they knocked out the judges, and uh, it was really the inventor of that program, Michael and something more, or I have to look for the name. But anyway, he said, "I never saw something stupid like that, but when it's so stupid like that, it stays also in the mind."
It's also funny. So you worked. So you had to choreograph the shows where all the dancers come together and dance something, but you also worked for the candidates when they are teamed up, right? I don't know if everyone knows the concept of So You Think You Can Dance, but
Yeah,
yeah, is that what you did, Tom?
I mainly worked with the dancers and the main choreographer of the program, like
Okay.
Gerald the Wind, where we spoke about.
Yep.
He's main choreographer from that program, and he was yes, main choreographer from that program. I learned a lot, and also because he said after each question, after each point what I had in my concept, he had a question. Why you take that? Why that?
Mm-mm.
Which atmosphere?
Yeah.
What you want to tell with it? What you want to reach with it?
Yeah.
Why these characters? So always why? And you can believe me or not, I get crazy from all their questions because I thought my concept is clear.
Yeah.
But actually, he want to prove myself. I think it at the end to get more deeper in it and deeper in it and make it more clear and make it more clear. So, and this is what I have now in my book. I have clear concept how you can make a show from the beginning till the end. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Actually, I use that format even for smaller things. It helps you. It helps you a lot to think about, okay, the theme that you want to work with. Do you have influence on the lights? Do you have influence on the clothing? And it's basically a
Yes.
elaborate checklist that you make sure that you have everything already down before you even start to dance. Very helpful for smaller shows or big shows. Doesn't actually really matter. That format works really well. So I had the pleasure to work with you on it, but also now I work with it. So that's where that experience is coming from, Tom.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Were you the only foreign choreographer in the Ukraine?
No, there were from Finland, my friend
Yeah,
Jaakko.
Jaakko Toivonen.
Um,
Yeah,
Alan Tornsberg, also.
yep,
He's
yeah,
quite famous. Yes, I have a nice anecdote also from him, a nice story. Um, you had from Russia, from America, you had choreographers from Italy, from China, from
right.
Japan. So it's
Nice.
quite huge. Was this program? Yes.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So you said there's different cultures between working for a Ukrainian TV program and other countries. What were the significant differences?
Um, in Ukraine, I told just in um, in the Netherlands, where I did for my daughter Super Kids, there didn't had a team like that. And the first round, what I made, it was okay. The second one, and then I get already some problems for the final to make my concept. So they didn't had a team like that, and me as choreographer, when you work for an external party like my daughter or Martha and Nikolai, or in that case, Ria and Julius from the Philippines, and when you are there in the program, they don't listen to you. They don't take you serious. And then they say, yes, but we know what we know, and do your thing, and we do our thing. But at the end, there wasn't not a teamwork. And team means together, each other achieve more. This is where I'm standing for. So if you do it together, then you come to something really unique. And I felt this also when I danced in Holland Got Talent. The first round was okay. The second, I could do my routine. But in the final, the production said, no, no, this you cannot do because I wanted to make something from Ukraine. And I know it's a family program, but still, I wanted to make something different than all the other choreographers and all the other concept what is in the world of Got Talent there. American Got Talent, British Got Talent. I want to make something really unique. So, what was my idea? And that was I had only 1 week to make that concept. So, and they refused that I could do this concept because they said this is too heavy. You cannot do that. So I will tell you what I did. So I made something from the Ukraine. It was war. The war just started in February, and the program I made the routine in March, April, and I made it already before because I know when I not made the routine, I have not enough time
Yeah.
because I work also with children of my studio. And when you have 10 little children, yes, then it's a challenge to make a choreography. So you need to plan very well. So I did. So I had all three concepts ready. But at the end, they said, Sean, this you cannot do for the final because Ukraine in war, we don't want this in the family program. Okay, I understand that. But why you got it? Why you call it Got Talent? Because I cannot show my talent. Um, then they said you cannot shoot children on the stage. Not really. But I had like gunshots, and every say 10 seconds, one child would be killed on that floor. And I had, in my case, I thought I had a wonderful music of Marlene Dietrich, when the flowers, uh, uh, about the flowers, was that, and I had the song in Ukrainian, in Dutch, in German, and in English. And she used it in the convention of 68 for UNICEF. But it was not allowed to do that. So I had to change the concept to diversity. What It wasn't the concept what I wanted. So this is different. So the production is actually more um, leading you to a pathway where you not want to go. And I couldn't not do what I wanted to do. And actually, this is also, they miss now something uniqueness in it, because I thought it was unique, and even it's shocking for the audience. But the war, what happened in Ukraine, and it's real. That's shocking. When people get raped, their children get raped, um, uh, that many people are died there. More than 500,000 are dead now there. So why you cannot make a program, a choreography as an artist, why you cannot make that for the production, why there are working so much in the hierarchy in the final, because in the final it's a point where you want to make impression. I don't want to win the competition. I want to make impression with my art. And this was the difference with Ukraine. Ukraine was also not everything possible. And in China, I had the same issues, the same problems. Um, yes, sometimes the people in the production, they don't understand you. But if you get this in an earlier stage in a team, that they give you an explanation why it not can, then I would accept it. But in this case, I didn't have much time. And in China, I had that I did a group in the boys in a skirt, and also the girls. And I did this also in Ukrainian. And in both, I get a lot of comments, even on the telephone and mail to the production. When I did it in Ukraine, um, thousands and thousands of reaction, why a boy dance in a skirt. So you feel culture different. In the Netherlands you can dance in a skirt, that's possible, but not in these countries. I don't know how it is in America, Sean.
Well, I mean, I know some people from programs like Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, I think production always has a lot to say in what can and cannot do that be done. I do see a little bit of a shift where they are a little bit more provocative. But as we know, the US is a relatively conservative country, and specifically on a big show like Dancing with the Stars, which is on prime time. So a couple of things are not there. But if you and I look at it, Tom, we see a lot of things that is very stereotypical man, woman, and in that perspective, we say, okay, that's accepted, but they don't put question marks behind those kind of things, that portrayal, typical portrayal of what we already did in our shows and podcast. but if you flip it around, it's not okay. So you could put probably in every country question marks around these things. It's a little bit double standards to my feeling in
Yes.
all of these countries. So male driven, more male driven countries like the Ukraine and China, very male dominant countries. You could see something like that in countries like I mean, try to understand it, not judge it, but I try to understand it. But it feels sometimes a little bit like double standard, right? So girls are sometimes half naked, and that is probably okay. But if you put a guy in a skirt, then it's not okay. And that for me is like, okay, you know.
Yes.
But you and I
But I
think
feel
very alike
yes,
about
yes.
these things. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. I
yeah,
I can I understand where it comes a little bit because
definitely.
also in the Netherlands, I said before, yes, it's possible. No, actually, I don't. I'm not sure is it possible because I tell you, um, from the history, it's men. The men are is the boss there from the history. It's a main driven man culture. Also in the Netherlands, I in the history books mainly we wrote about men, but not about women. And if we would wrote about women, then they would have in the cultures in different cultures would have a different standard. The only one where I'm knowing that had more equal value that was in Iceland and in the Norwegian, Swedish countries from the Vikings because they fight also there. And in our countries, it wasn't that. It was more the man driven country. But this is the difference. And I think it works from generation to generation to generation. It's, of course, changing. So it's a completely different subject now, but it's holistic, Sean. And this is why I understand now. Um, yes, that it's like this. 100 years ago, um, the woman could just start to vote in the Netherlands. And it came because they wanted to get into politics, but was not allowed. And they were in commissions, and slowly it changed. Also, they couldn't drive first in the Netherlands. And some of the countries, even in the 70s, the woman could not vote. Quite strange. And I think that works through to the media television
Of course.
also. I
Yeah, of course.
cannot prove that, but that's what
No,
I really think.
no,
Mm.
no. It's a completely different topic, of course. But most of the structures that you see in companies and in governments are male built structures, and the only way some women think that they can survive is to adapt to that culture. Well, let's go back to choreography. I think all artists always have a tendency to wanna bring alive some more controversial topics like you did. Ask attention for the Ukraine, which was already a lot of there, but you wanted to give that. I thought it was a beautiful concept. You talked about it to me that we need to show that children are actually dying there, and you thought that dance would be a good medium to show that. A surprise! I was utterly surprised that that concept was not accepted, because I think you did it in a, well, that's relative, of course, that's subjective, beautiful way, but I thought it was very appropriate. Let's put it that way. But you see,
Yes.
that is, of course, when other people have something to say in it, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But yeah, did you feel in general that you were more hindered in your creative process, or did you say no? I had a lot of good opportunities in general for all these programs where I could demonstrate and show what I wanted.
Um, yes and no. In one way, yes, because I know the format of the program,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I forget the format of the program, and then you go too much to your ideas. So to make all Disney films in a show dance, that's nice, but if I would make only Disney as a show program,
Yeah.
as a concept, then I could do Peter Pan, I could do Cruella, I could do um, Alice in Wonderland, yes, etc., etc., etc. But that, as an artist, for me, that would get bored of it if I make only that concepts. So you need, as a choreographer, also to find different ones. And I want also not only sweet concepts, also something what is culturally where you not can speak about it. I would also make a concept for dancing about rape and abuse. I would make also a concept about the war and how children get died. I would also make a concept of drugs and etc. I would also make concepts about abuse and how women sometimes get treated. I would also make concepts about uh, the mobile telephone, what it can do with you. And there are concepts in it. I see it sometimes from a choreographer, but each choreographer have also a different view and a different approach how he wants to bring it. I made also an now that was a beautiful one, Romjana de Haan from the artist school of performing arts. She asked to make a show about the ballroom, samba, cha cha cha, rumba, and paso doble, where it came from, and from the enslaved. So I ended by the enslaves. So to how they made to slaves and how the music and dance started from there. That was a nice concept. But actually, Sean, I cannot make everything what I want to make because
Mm.
people, uh, yeah, they are not sometimes not ready for it.
Yeah.
So I can do this only for myself and put it on a platform on my own YouTube channel. And maybe this is the idea now. You bring me to an idea because I have more than 100,000 followers. So why not put
One and a half
this
million.
half well, no, 100,000.
100,000. Yeah.
Yes, more than 100,000 followers. So why I don't put it there on that channel?
No,
When
it's
it's
a great
because
idea.
people like to see sometimes really shocking things. But then I must really also be careful with the YouTube channel and the policy what is there. So even there, I cannot put everything on it.
Well, you have a lot more freedom. After all, it is YouTube is of course nowadays you can also call it a TV channel, right? It
Mm,
is TV has changed. It's not only the broadcast stations that do TV, but YouTube is seen as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, TV channel. Right, you can actually put it on your TV, and a lot of people that's what they watch. So I think it's a great idea. I also have to say, of course, I know Tom really well. He is very provocative and very boundary breaking in his thinking, or has always been. So, which is great. A lot of artists are like that. He does not like to color, in the lines. To either have a platform where you can show that talent, Tom, or create it yourself. I think that's very commendable. Um, you already mentioned a couple of things, but you also put quite a bit provocative things on the floor already that people would not do it in that way that you did it. For instance, the Philippines. Okay,
mm.
it was maybe accepted by the program makers, but I do think you have to have your mind to make it in that way. It was not very traditional,
No, that wasn't traditional.
wheelchair dancing. On the
No,
contrary.
not at all, not
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
So, and many people looked also to it, and the
exactly.
judge could also not believe what I saw at the end.
Yeah, what
That
he was
was really,
capable of. Yeah,
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 yeah. And I can tell you that what I did at the end is really, really dangerous, Sean.
yeah. It
That's
was.
yes, and that they accepted that they could do that without any rope. to it, a safety rope that's really incredible, and you have to be Julius. He was super strong to hold himself there. So deep respect for them and also for the channel that they take the challenge also to it. Yes, yes, that
Yeah.
was different, John.
Yeah,
Correct.
that was different. It also was I think a great testimony that if you are on a chair, you could still be a dancer to the highest level. I mean, not a lot of people can do what he do, even if you if you would not be in a wheelchair. That was just an incredible thing. And then other dances that you do. So I think you push the boundaries little by little. Sometimes not fast enough for your taste, maybe, but I think you do great work in there. And yeah, I do hope that you and I together make some really good productions around abuse. And
Yes, we
that's,
did, Sean.
yeah,
We
we did.
made one.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
still waiting one.
We
I
still
made
need to,
one for you,
yeah,
and I
we
think it's
still,
still beautiful. So yes, but what I want also to tell you, TV is a platform
it's a
where
platform, a
where you can
medium.
show your art. Yes,
Yes.
and actually, me as an artist, actually, I want to get more platforms to show my art, but. But I didn't think I have my own platform to do it on my own one. So why I think now about it, because you bring me on ideas, Sean. So thank you for that one. And yes, because you need that platform, and I want to make something that I make a footprint as an artist, and that people say, "Wow, that's one of a kind." That's
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Mm.
although a lot of people, when people who are not in this trade of choreography and creating art would think that TV is the highest platform that you can perform on. You could still be, in your case, I can feel that, actually feel almost hindered by it. There's still not a great platform where you have completely freedom to put on what you do according to, I mean, that's maybe dances has always been a little bit different than, for instance, painters. They can paint whatever they want, right? And then they will either accept it or not. So there's always this
Yes.
acceptance level. Maybe with your own TV channel, you could do that. There's definitely a time. It changes by time. But I think, Ton, I know you very well. Even if they would shift, you would even shift more. So I think that tension makes you also, I think, quite unique. And so that's great. I was utterly surprised, and I'm just saying that because we're getting close to the end of of our time. But I'm saying this, Ton. I was surprised, you yourself too, how many programs you have worked with. If you have to call out one unique experience that stood out the most, okay, that was my best experience. I know it's subjective, but kind of
No,
for the
that's the one the
listeners.
direct. No, the one of the director of STB
Yeah,
who
the
put
the,
me in
the,
the
the
air.
guy who
That's
threw you
one.
in the air.
Yeah, actually, it was Michael Jackson, "Little Susie." What I
Yeah.
made there it
Hmm.
was a
Hmm.
Viennese waltz.
Yeah.
Um, the other one was also the wheelchair. I like very much my
Yeah.
own. What I did
Yeah.
there with the yellow flower that
That
actually
was.
was also for Ukraine. Um,
Yeah.
in China, the program, oh, there are so many gems in it, Sean.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, it's really really incredible. Now, last summer I made for the German program Let's Dance in the Profi Challenge the final dance. Who won there? That was also very nice.
Hmm.
Um, but actually, one time when you make something as an artist, it's also again forgotten,
Yes.
and so you always try to make something new. My fire is still burning, so I want to make some beautiful things for myself. Beautiful is very subjective, but things what I didn't do before, and then you challenge yourself, and if you can challenge yourself, then you grow as an artist. If you not challenge yourself, you will stay on that level. And if you do nothing, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
So thank you for that podcast, Sean, because now again I'm aware as an artist that you bring me forward.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing how you have. I've seen it from close. You know how you have developed as a choreographer, and we work now close together. TV is one thing, but maybe your or maybe even our both our adventures is creating our own TV channels and creating a platform where your art will be seen. I think you're very remarkable in your choreography. No wonder that you have been shown at so many places already. Um, so thank you for the interview. It was a slightly different podcast than normal, but I think it was great. Ton showed another side of you, multifaceted choreographer and dancer. Ton Greten, one of the dance gems. I'm the other. I'm the other half of the dance gems. Do know that we have a Dutch episode that talks to a creative director and a choreographer, also talking about a little bit about the same topics as well. So it's nice to compare if you speak both languages, or if not, then you just do the caption in English or how that ever works. Is there anything you want to give to our listeners or dancers who either have the ambitions or are just curious about your TV work in this podcast?
Yes, what I would say to the listeners,
Mm-hmm.
don't dream about it, but take also action. So follow your dream, whatever it will be, you will reach it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. That also was shining through in Gerald van Wind's interview, where he say you have to go after what you want and don't take no for an answer, or not so quickly at least. He said
Yes,
five
yes.
times, and then maybe you need to give up.
No, 11 times he
Oh,
said
did he said
also.
11?
11 times.
11
Yes,
times.
11, Sean.
11 times. And he had
Yeah.
this nice logic, which probably is true for you too. The first time you ask a request, there are hundreds of people who ask the same request. The second time, it's half of it. And so he kind of came up with this idea saying, oh, by the time that I arrive at the 11th time, I'm probably the only one. And then they have to talk to me. So that was a great advice. Saying what you do.
Yes.
All right, Tom. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully to see you. Well, not hopefully. We always see you back in the next episode of Dance Gems. Who knows, Tom, what kind of subject we have then? I always have a pleasure, whether it's being interviewed, whether it's interviewing, whether we have a guest, or just the two of us. It's always a great pleasure to be with you on the Dance Gems. Right?
Thank you, Sean. And I say thank you for you listeners who get to the end. Thank you very much.
Yes, and then this was another episode of Dance Jams. I'm going to start the music already a little bit. This was about Behind the Glitter, dancing on the screen with Ton and Jean, of course. And then last but not least, I'm going to tell you where you can find us. Yeah, with that, I already say bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yes, and you can always find us on Spotify, Dance Dash Jams, YouTube at tongreten/podcast, or on our own website, jam.dance/podcast. And with that, we say I'll see you and hear you next time.
Bye bye.